Hello, my name is Spiro Antonopoulos, and I'm part of the executive team at Kuvacash. I've been working closely with our developers over the last several months to hone our requirements, and now I want to walk you through a few of our core services and areas of functionality. We aim to pilot Kuvacash with real users on the ground in Zimbabwe this coming September, offering three key services to start. One, cheap and fast inbound remittances to charge the ecosystem with Dash. Two, the Kuvacash wallet, which supports multiple modes of peer-to-peer payments, as well as instant transfers between Dash and USD. And three, local USD cash out, enabling users to book physical USD directly from their Kuvacash wallet. These three services are critical for us to gain trust, to educate people on the inherent value of Dash, and to charge the system with transaction flow. According to the World Bank, since 2010, the annual total of inbound remittances to Zimbabwe has ranged between 1.2 and 2.1 billion USD. But current options are expensive. They charge up to 12%, leaving some Zimbabwe expats to prefer networks of couriers, friends, and family to transport funds across borders. Kuvacash aims to capture market share of inbound remittances by providing this service at ultra-low rates, as low as 4%, 3%, or even less. To give a sense of the magnitude of this opportunity, consider this. By capturing even 2% of this remittance market, we will direct up to $20 million of funds annually into the Kuvacash Dash ecosystem in Zimbabwe. Now let's have a look at how it works. So here's our Kuvacash inbound remittance portal, and as you can see, I am already logged in. I have already done my KYC and my onboarding, which will be required of any user before they're allowed to get the entire way through the process. So on day one, we have two send currencies available, USD and euros. So let's say I'm in Germany and I want to send 100 euros, let's say. You can see that as I enter the amount to send, the cost to send is automatically calculated on the back end and presented to the user. And anyone familiar with inbound remittances who sends them frequently will see and recognize that this is very low, at lower than 4%. So then we go and enter the recipient information. We enter their first name and their last name, and then we have to enter a valid Zimbabwe mobile number. And what we're doing on the back end is when we receive funds from the sender, we activate an SMS which goes to the recipient. It gives them the information that a remittance has been received, and it gives them a payment reference number. They can take that reference number and go to a Kuvacash agent to cash out if they present their personal identification details and their reference number and so forth. Or if they have the Kuvacash wallet, they can put those funds directly into their wallet as Dash. They can also, if they don't have a Kuvacash wallet, navigate to a link that we provide as part of that SMS to download the wallet. So we really cover every use case there. And as you can see here, the user has to enter the payment reason for audit purposes, and then we agree to the terms and the conditions, and we select Next. Transaction summary is presented to the user. If the user doesn't like that, the user can navigate back. None of their details are lost, but they can edit them, and then they go forward. They're happy with it, so they select Next. And then what appears is a registration completion page, which allows the user which gives the user the information that they need to do their internet banking and to make this transfer. So the bank account details that you see there would be the bank account details associated with our inbound remittance. The payment reference number is critical for them to enter because it allows us to programmatically take those remittances and associate them with the SMS numbers on the other side. But of course, we'll have a manual process to deal with this if there's an issue of miskeying or forgetting the reference number. So we press confirm, and as you can see here, there's a timer, and within that 24 hours is the timer now the user has to do this transfer, or it's invalid. I want to point out the fact that we have new screens coming along which will be ready for the pilot, and not only do these new screens conform to our updated brand guidelines, but they also have a functionality updates where the sender can fix the amount that they send or that the amount that is received on the other end. They can basically enter in either field, which addresses one of the key pain points that we've learned about as we've done our market research in this space. So some of these screens are presented here, but for the most part, the functionality and the flow is the same that you see right here. So right now, what basically this the transaction is done from the perspective of the Kuvacash portal, and the user basically has the responsibility now to do this internet banking transfer. We can click on My Transactions here and actually see, as a user, all of our pending transactions. And I would ignore these statuses that you see here. Those are just associated with our testing. But you see all your pending transactions. You can click into them. You can select View. You get all the details and the status history and our completed transactions in the past. And here's the status history all the way from created, pending, money received to completed. Now what we're going to do is we're going to assume the role of an agent. So assume that a recipient has gotten an SMS in Zimbabwe and they have a payment reference number and they want to cash out. So let's copy this payment reference number for the purposes of the next demonstration. And what we're going to do is we're going to log in to the agent portal. So this is the same system, different user role, different screen permissions, and so forth. And so this agent is in Zimbabwe. They are logging in. They are presented with a reference number and personal documentation, personal identification documents, and they will enter the reference number that the user gives them. They'll look for the transaction. The transaction is there, but the reference number is masked. So actually, what has to happen is the user has to enter that reference number correctly in order for the cash out button to be activated. So if I say select complete cash out and confirm, then it will show that the status of that reference number, if I look for it again, has been changed to completed. And of course, this is running, reconciling in our back end, so we know what cash has left the system. If I want to run a report, these reports aren't pretty yet, but just to show you some of what we've developed, we have all our transactions, full status, amounts, fees, and so forth. It's well known that access to basic financial services can serve not only as a bridge out of poverty, but as a means to accelerate prosperity. With Kuvacash, virtually anyone can access these basic financial services, storing funds, transacting quickly, and accessing cash when needed. Dash is the ideal cryptocurrency for Zimbabwe because it's fast, it's cheap, and it has global value. In the next part of this video, we're going to demo the Kuvacash wallet, from onboarding to peer-to-peer transactions with Dash to transferring from Dash to USD. So now this is the first screen for onboarding for the Kuvacash wallet. So I've downloaded the app, I selected sign up, and now I'm going to enter my details. I'm going to enter an email. I'm going to enter my physical address. I'm going to enter my national ID number. I'm going to select an ID image, which will either be my passport or my national ID card. And on day one, all of these will be manually reviewed by a Kuvacash back office employee. But of course, as we scale, we'll be looking at, and we're already looking at, these automated forms of validating the identification documents. We'll submit. It's registering the user, and then it will create the wallet. Now we have to enter an SMS. We ask them to send an SMS confirmation. And because I entered an invalid number, that was not enabled. So now this will obviously be updated when we have this service turned on. We're going to create a passcode. We're going to confirm the passcode. And now we have our account recovery words. And the user is told that this is very important. Please write these down. Please keep them safe. Confirm that the user completed this important step, because this is an important paradigm shift for users in Zimbabwe. So now we will log into the Kuvacash back office system as an agent. And we will select mobile users. And now we have a list of all the users. Of course, these are test users that have registered with Kuvacash. And we can look at the most recent registrant, John Dennis. We can click on info. And here is all the information that has been entered or uploaded, and this allows us a manual review. In our next iteration of this, of course, we will add a few other fields, including giving the agent the ability to enter comments, so that other agents can understand why a user may have been approved or rejected. We can look at that user's transactions. Of course, they are empty. The user has not been accepted yet. So we can reject or accept. Here, we're going to accept the user. And now we can go back to the mobile site to see that that user's wallet has been created and accepted. So now we'll do a peer-to-peer transaction. There are multiple modes in which people can send funds peer-to-peer. The one we're going to show you right now is sending funds to a contact that's in your address book. So we click Send Funds, and next we're able to enter an amount. We are sending Dash, but we enter in USD, and the spot rate between USD and Dash is instantly calculated and displayed below, as you can see. Next, we select the address book icon, and we select James. And because he is a registered Kuvacash wallet user, his name is automatically populated in there, and no further verification is required. We enter that we want to send funds to pay them back for the coffee. Click Next, confirm, and the funds have been sent. And as you can see, the balance will be deducted right there. So now I'm going to request funds, and I'm going to request funds via a pay code. So I click Request Funds. I enter a requested amount, and I remind the person that I'm requesting from what this is for. And then I select Next. And as you can see here, a QR code is generated along with a pay code. The QR code is going to be useful when the two individuals are face-to-face, whether it's two friends or a merchant transacting with a consumer, they'll be able to just scan and pay. But in this situation, for example, where I'm on the phone with James, I will instead ask him to pay to a pay code. So James, the pay code is 686865.
Okay, that's for coffee. Okay, I'm sending that now. And that's sent.
And I have just received the receipt from James in the amount specified for coffee. And as you can see, my balance is already updated to reflect that new transaction. Now we will show you the third way that users can send or receive funds. This is scanning to a QR code. So let's assume you're a merchant and you have a good that you sell frequently. You might want to create a QR code through the request funds functionality and associate it with a price and print it out and stick it to your storefront. As a consumer, I would visit your store, I would see the item, I would press on my Kuvacash app the scan and pay button in the lower left. It would display my QR reader. I would put it up to the code. It would read the QR and it would say, do you want to pay 12 cents? I would say, yes, I'm expecting to pay this for this loaf of bread. And I send those funds and I confirm. Transaction sends and broadcasts and confirms. And as you can see, my balance will be updating very quickly. There it is. And what we will now do is go to our Kuvacash back office website, which you can see right here. We will log into our mobile users. And as you can see, there are a whole bunch of test users, but I'll go down and copy my Dash wallet address. And I'll go to Dash Explorer. And I will see the transaction that was just completed 2 minutes ago for 12 cents right here on Dash Blockchain Explorer. So now we're going to demonstrate transferring funds from your Dash balance to your USD balance. So why would a user want to do that? In order to book cash, a user will have to have a balance available in their USD ledger. So to do this, the user will just go to their thumb level menu, press transfer, and let's transfer 50 cents, which is an unrealistic amount, but for the purposes of this demo it works. And we press continue, and almost immediately the transfer between the Dash balance and the USD balance has been made. And as you can see, the USD balance and the Dash balance have been updated. And these transactions can also be looked up on Dash Explorer. A huge share of Zimbabwe's economy is conducted in the so-called shadows, in other words, in the informal sector. And although there are multiple legal currencies in Zimbabwe, USD is far and away the king. Because of this reality, Kuvacash is providing scheduled cash-out services so that the average user feels and connects with the inherent value of Dash on the ground. What's more, this cash-out service allows users without smartphones to participate in the inbound remittance flow discussed earlier. Next, we will demo booking cash. So in this way, a user can convert funds from their balance into physical USD through our agent network. On day one, we will have one stationary location providing cash outs, but in the future, the idea is that we will have a fleet of mobile agents that will not be Kuvacash employees, but will be providing services on behalf of Kuvacash, and specifically these cash out services. So to start the process, the user will select from the thumb level menu, Book Cash. Then the user will enter an amount. They probably won't be booking 50 cents, but for the sake of this demo, let's do 50 cents. Then, as you can see, it will open a map which has found my location in Massachusetts. There are no Kuvacash agents in Massachusetts. So just to show you, I will zoom out and cross the Atlantic and go to Zimbabwe. And this is the location that we have at the moment on the map. And so in the future, the user will see multiple agents, their locations, and they will only be presented if they have the cash available based on certain requirements that we set. And so let's select this agent. Then we can select a pickup date. Let's say today, and a pickup time. And let's say 10:40. And of course, on the other end, the agents have the ability to set their calendar and their availability. So certain dates and times would not be available based on what the agent has set or if previous appointments have been booked. So now we confirm. Transaction is processing. There's a transaction fee. We want to encourage users to keep their money in their wallet, but we know people will want cash and need physical USD, so we charge them a small fee. The small fee is still much lower than market rates in Zimbabwe for obtaining physical cash. So we confirm after we've seen the fee. The transaction is broadcast to our back end, and we have our receipt. And we have our pickup location, our pickup time, and our payment reference number. And this reference number is critical because it is what we are going to give to the agent when we go to cash out. We are logged into the Kuvacash agent back office website, as you can see, and now we will do a cash out from the perspective of an agent. So the user will come to the Kuvacash agent with their personal identification details and with a payment reference number. So they can do it in a number of ways, but let's say they give their mobile number. Okay, they give their mobile number. The user has 3 transactions here. Let's select the one at the top of the page. And I'm going to view the details. And then what will happen is the user will basically say the reference number, which is masked here on the screen. And so the reference number is and the cash out is completed because that reference number matched this transaction. And so that is a way of securing that the transaction can take place. What we've shown you here is the core of what we will launch with. As you can see, this is much more than a wallet. It's an interlinked group of services that will redirect money already coming into Zimbabwe into Dash, a safer and more versatile store of value, but also into the wallet and services that Kuvacash is providing that will make Dash valuable and accessible to the average person on the ground in Zimbabwe. Finally, and why we've invested a great deal of effort into partnerships in order to hypercharge adoption once we have launched. In an economy with 75% unemployment, millions of adults have innovated and turned to informal street trading, making money selling products like fruit, clothing, and auto parts in stalls by the road or in Harare's central business district. With the Kuvacash wallet, any of these informal traders instantly become merchants accepting Dash. This functionality will be ready when we pilot, as we have demonstrated above. By the time of our full launch, we will roll out more sophisticated merchant services for larger merchants, which includes exchange risk management, USD settlement, and payment services to international suppliers. Beyond this, we know that to effectively drive mass adoption for Dash in Zimbabwe, we must also establish trust and credibility. This is why we focused our efforts on high-level partnerships within strategically important sectors such as transportation. In a previous update to the network, we discussed the transportation feasibility study being completed for the use of aerial cable cars in Harare. This study found that the transportation demand within Harare's central business district amounts to 30,000 plus trips per day. At 50 cents per trip, this is the equivalent of over $10 million annually. Kuvacash's contactless payment solution, powered by Dash, is included as part of this feasibility study, and we are currently working with city and government officials to educate them on the benefits of integrating our payment system with this type of transportation infrastructure. If accomplished, this would mean millions flowing through the Kuvacash Dash ecosystem in Zimbabwe from transportation alone.